Okay, so from the voting members, I can see TIM, Orange, Deutsche Telekom, Telefonica, Ericsson. So we have the quorum if we need any to take any decision. And I see other participants from SUSE, White Stack, Linux Foundation, Red Hat, Six Wind, and I don't know if I'm missing any other company. Okay.
We've got also White Stack and Open
Yes.
Nebula.
Open Nebula. Okay.
Yeah. And
okay.
Timo Yokiao, you are coming from which company?
WindRiver.
WindRiver. Okay.
WindRiver. Okay,
Welcome.
thanks.
Yes. Yes. Thank you.
Good. So I just reminded that we are following the Linux Foundation policies for this meeting. And the next TSC will be in 2 weeks on the 12th of February. Regarding the general news, we are glad to let you know that on the next TSC we will have a demo prepared by Workgroup 4 on the green scheduler. So we will have a slot dedicated to this interesting demo. From the point of view of the directed fund, I don't have any particular news to be shared. I don't know, Guillaume or Kay or Luis, if you remember anything important to be shared.
Nothing special.
No.
Okay. So I think we can move to the first work group on the cloud stack development. And Mathieu?
Hello, everyone.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Do I have to update?
No, I didn't share the lot of topics for today because I don't have a lot to share. Anyway, yeah, I think the next chapter is the one that is hosting the Dawn, because we had the meeting presented by DT and Orange about the HBR demo. It has been done 10 days ago, and it was very, very interesting. We had a lot of interactions and discuss about the follow-up. And there have been a topic about how it interacts with other works done at Red Hat. And of course, they presented the benefits of their approach, which can simplify the networking aspects of Sylva, of course, as you already know, the way HBR is designed is really helpful for deploying Sylva independently from the network fabric that is in front of the data center, especially for bare metal deployments. Okay, so we had this meeting. It has been recorded. Anyone interested in watching the record can have the YouTube link. And that's it. We keep working on the what has to be done for Sylva 1.4. We will have a feature freeze. I think it will be end of March, because then we have the KubeCon, so most of the developers won't be available to keep working on the additional features. and we expect this 1.4 to be ready by the end of April. So that's it for me. Guillaume, you had a topic about Kunai being available open source.
Yeah, it's just for the moment to highlight that there is a proposal of a merge request of Kunai, which is a self-service portal. So this merge request, it's a proposal to share it to Sylva as an open source solution. And it's aligned with GitOps principle and architecture. And this tool, we can present it in a couple of weeks when we will be able to release it through the Sylva release. I don't remember if it's in the 1.4, but we can present you the content of this merge request. And it's also an opportunity for you to test it and to ask for some new features, or if you want to contribute, it will be open. So that's this topic.
Okay, so you said that you are going to we are going to have a presentation of the Kunai in the TSC, in one of the following TSC.
Yeah, okay. Exactly. Not yeah, in the follow, in the next TSC we will propose when we are able to share it, but it will be done soon.
Okay. Any question for Mathieu or Guillaume about Workgroup 1?
We have also prepared with Matthew an update of the roadmap. Not lots of modification on the next release, but it's also a way to confirm the actual scope of our next Sylva release. So, and if you have some questions or some proposal, it's an important point.
Okay, so
I can share my screen.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So just reducing this. Okay. So
yeah, so I can take
the comment the change.
Yeah. Okay. So as you already know, probably Sylva v1.4 will be about bumping the Kubernetes version we support to 1.31. It will also come with a bump of the Rancher and Longhorn version with Longhorn 1.8, aligned with some LTS components proposed by both in terms of version. This is LTS versions that are supported by both Red Hat and SUSE. So this is interesting for the Sylva ecosystem, because as a telco, we are often relying on LTS versions. We will have probably a lot of features related to the networking aspects. I mean, we keep exploring different ways to provide egress services with egress gateways, and some enhancements on the way to manage both ingress and egress traffic for CNF containerized applications. In terms of security, so today we support Novector, but only on the management cluster. So we need to work on being able to support it on workload cluster too. We keep monitoring the OpenBAO community to be able to switch to OpenBAO instead of Vault as soon as possible. And we do also have in the backlog some some features related to firewalling. It's still under discussion because it has some conflicts with the ability to use alternative CNI plugins. So we need to keep discussing that. GitOps. So you mentioned that, Guillaume. We are working with the Kunai team in order to align the two strategy. We will keep working on the GitOps story, providing operators for managing especially the life cycle of the workload cluster of the GitOps way. And it has to be coupled with the way the Kunai team is working too. So we keep working with them. Something that we will move on, and actually it's already supported, but with some drawbacks, is the capability to deploy the first immutable OS that we will support, which is OpenSUSE Leap Micro. So today you can already do it. I'm not sure it's covered by our CI, but we'd like at least to have it covered in the CI to support it officially. We are working on the security aspect for it. As you may know, we are able to harden the OS we rely on for deploying a Sylva cluster. The hardening part for this immutable OS is a little bit different. So we are currently working on that. And we keep working on additional features, PTP, real-time OSs for especially for RAN use cases. And we have also other topics for RAN. One of them is to be able to support actually distributed unit acceleration cards. And one other feature that is very important for the Sylva ecosystem because it's meant to be production ready, it's the ability to provide at least some tools to manage backup and restore of every clusters, including data. So we'd like to have that at least the tool for operators to use them to manage backup and restores of clusters. We'd like to have that for Sylva v1.4. And we, of course, have exploration topics, usage of GPUs, and addition of new cluster API providers, be it bootstrap providers or infrastructure providers. We keep targeting 2 other releases for 2025, v1.4 in July, with v1.5, sorry, in July and v1.6 in November. It's still under discussion. We can also potentially propose to have a single one instead of 2 that will come with the support of 2 Kubernetes releases, because we are again a little bit late in the adoption of newest version of Kubernetes. So the sooner we bring support for additional Kubernetes distribution, the better. The more we have support period. So we will see if it's doable, but it's a topic we can discuss. And so we have a lot of topics for those releases. Host-based routing is one of them, being able to support it officially in Sylva. Finalize the GitOps story along with the Kunai approach. Potentially embed the NIF tooling zone feature, I would say, or what will be discussed in the workgroup 6 for managing the life cycle of CNF. We will, I think, also work on cluster hybridization and potentially nested cluster also with KubeVirt. And we started also to discuss with Stephen Hardy and that is with monitoring the cluster API community of improvements, especially for bare metal workload cluster. It's kind of slow the way we manage those specific clusters. Upgrading them, updating them, the cluster API way is pretty slow. So we'd like to improve that situation.
So it's improvement bare metal automation?
Yep.
Okay. In exploration?
Cluster API is having some topics about that, and we will monitor at least and potentially contribute to what Cluster API is working on. And it may be related or rely on features supported by immutable OSs. So it's not clear today, but yeah, we'd like to improve what how long a bare metal workload cluster provisioning lasts.
There is a question from Riyab.
Yes. So in one of the last meetings, you had mentioned that the integration with Red Hat OKD will also be a part of the upcoming release, but I mean, it's not mentioned here on this slide. So what is the status on that?
Yeah, we keep working on with Red Hat. Ran is probably with us today, and we keep discussing with them because the way you deploy an OKD cluster and an OpenShift cluster is a little bit different to the way we manage the life cycle of Sylva workload cluster as they are today, because the OpenShift is more monolithic than the standard Sylva cluster, and we'd like to find a way to keep the Sylva approach to keep it even for OKD workload cluster.
So we don't.
And
Sorry, Mate. So we don't have a release set where we will have OKD as a second flavor, no? It still is not defined.
The first step to be able to stop having this OKD flavor as an alpha feature is, of course, to have OpenShift and OKD cluster fully compatible with the cluster API approach. So it really depends on Red Hat being fully compatible with cluster API.
Yeah, and Ran.
Yes, and it hasn't been decided. Red Hat has not provided a date for a release where they want to have that, right?
Yeah, and Ran, you probably want to precise this?
Not sure Ran is with us.
No, Ran is with us.
Yes,
He raised his hand, but he seems to have an issue in his mic. Yes, Ran.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's okay now.
Great. Yeah, so I agree with Matthew. And now we are in the process of doing the decoupling that we need to do with the copy OKD. So now we are in the transition, moving from the two types that we need to contribute, which are the control plane and the bootstrap node. And that will give us what Matthew just mentioned, Imbi, about being, something that we could contribute even to the cluster API itself. So that's the process that we are in. I just want to ask one question that is not related to that, to explore the GPU integration. This is one of the additional topics that will be handled by I assume, the Workgroup 4, right?
So there are two topics just before the GPU part. to answer to the question of Riyab, she asked when are we going to progress on this topic? Is it something for the release 1.6 where we can go on further OKD KPI adoption? Are you okay with this, Ran?
So you are talking about the OKD. This is in November, you mean?
Yeah.
Or in...
For a full KPI adoption. So I mean, not only the provisioning, the update of cluster and so on.
So yeah, so that's something that we are still working on. I don't have a final date to provide, but this is something that we are definitely working on, understanding the roadmap in order to get there.
Yeah.
You are talking about the full. You are talking about the life cycle management of CAPI, if I'm right, got it correct.
Life cycle management of OKD.
Correct. Not only the decoupling part that I just mentioned. Yeah. That's accurate.
Okay.
And regarding the GPU integration in Workgroup 4, I assuming, do we have some plan how to achieve that? Or this is still on exploration?
Yeah, it's part. So we received some hardware to be transparent on our Sylva validation center within Orange. So we will start the test in the coming weeks on this.
Okay. So that's great to know, Guillaume. Thank you.
Yeah.
Additional
it's recent news. We were waiting for hardware for a couple of weeks, so we have it, and the integration is ongoing.
Okay. Perfect.
And so, and this point, thanks to make this point, because when it will be done, I will also inform Luis, because we have an application of computer vision that has been proposed to the Workgroup 2 on the validation center to use that kind of hardware. Foxsphere.
That's great because we have also additional optimization in the GPU territory, and Huamin can explain even much more than I do in that area. So we do have some optimization for the configuration around the GPU. So this is really great to know. Thank you, Guillaume.
Yeah.
I have one other question. Sorry. In the April release, when it says explore the last point, support for additional CAPI provider, is this for a CAPI provider for the virtualization part? Something like having another virtualization element, for instance, apart from OpenStack, having OpenNebula, something like that. For that.
Yeah, on this part, we are testing on our side some additional provider. So Matthew, if you can detail a bit more, but it's I think it's linked to the cloud director. But if you have some other contribution on your part to support additional KP provider.
Yeah, I remember that OpenNebula was as another provider of virtualization, same as OpenStack. They were proposing to integrate a CAPI provider for theirs. So we could have a Sylva where the containers are running not on bare metal but on a different virtualization than OpenStack. For instance, OpenNebula. Okay.
Just to let you know that currently there is a refactoring in progress to be able to support additional cluster API provider easier. It has been quite painful so far, but it will be easier in the coming weeks. And the other provider I'm having in mind is the one provided by Canonical for Canonical Kubernetes, which is a bootstrap provider, not a bootstrap control plane provider, not an infrastructure provider. And Canonical started to contribute to Sylva for having Sylva supporting this new flavor, this new Kubernetes distribution.
Okay, but in this case, because these are different, no? When is support CAPI to support Kubernetes distribution, this actually is creating a new flavor, no? And when it's supporting CAPI to support a virtualization, just same as OpenStack. This is not the flavor itself. It's not changing the Sylva distribution. So probably there are two concepts there. Still both of them with CAPI, but two concepts. One is becoming another virtualization, and the other becoming another flavor that has to support many other things. No?
We have Kubernetes distribution and infra provider, but the topic of Matthew is that our refactor help us to be more modular in the support of new CAPI provider, both in infrastructure and Kubernetes. Is it the point, Matthew?
Exactly.
Okay. Thank
you. Ran, you have a question?
Okay, sorry.
Yes, please.
I have one info and then one quick question. Unfortunately, I'll need to, Vuk speaking from Deutsche Telekom, I'll need to leave now at 4:30. Will not be able to stay until the end. But the question to Mathieu and Guillaume regarding roadmap, have you been looking at the NRI integration? So this is node resource interface for advanced scheduling. This might be something that is also addressed in the working group 4, but is principally the platform level thing. Have you been looking at that at all? Because we've been getting some optimizations with the IMD and some other hardware providers in order to be able to schedule containers and configure the specs in a way to secure the processing time for them without static CPU management.
Okay.
For example, as one of use cases would be interesting. But you didn't yet come across that one. It's an NRI, node resource interface, which is a sort of attachment to or extension of containerd.
Okay. Thank you for that.
And why? Is it
NRI? NV Norway and R V
Node resource
Rwanda. Node resource interface.
Interface. Okay.
Yep.
I put the link in the chat.
Looking at that, there is a similar name for a New Relic integration, NRI from New Relic, but it's not the same thing.
Okay.
You should look for it as Kubernetes NRI. Okay, if you have more, then I can share. I was just wondering if this is something on the roadmap.
Vuk, for the moment, I put it in November, but definitely if it's a topic important for you and you propose it during a TSC or something like this, and if we align, we can anticipate this point. Okay.
It's nothing super urgent, but it's interesting new concept that gets beta in 132 Kubernetes, or that just got beta, which might be usable for energy efficiency and other purposes. Okay, so, sorry, I just jumped into that with the question, but I need to drop now, hopefully.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Ran, you have a question?
Yeah, it's actually just wanted to ask to move that to July, Guillaume, if that's okay. The OKD full CAPI adoption with lifecycle management. Okay. That's all. Thank you, folks.
Okay. Any other comment, question regarding the roadmap? Guillaume, do you think we can have a vote on it to publish it on the Git?
Yes, please.
So I would ask to the voting member to write the vote on the chat. Or if you want just to say the vote, maybe we can be okay for Orange, for Deutsche Telekom. for Telefonica and Ericsson.
This roadmap is okay. What is proposed?
Okay.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. So I think it's okay, and we can publish this updated roadmap on the page on Git to publish it.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. So I take again the sharing, and we can move to the workgroup 2. To Luis.
This is me. Yes. Okay. Well, I go quick. Things that we have done in the last weeks, well, we keep working is the normal business as usual. No, so we are working with the workloads that we have in the backlog. There are 4 in the backlog, and we have the kickoffs planned with the vendors to start the validations. And something that we were working was the version upgrade with no service impact. So Kubernetes version upgrade, platform upgrade with no service impact, validate that the workload can support that. And we have completed this, and we will be showing it in the next validation meeting, which is next week. So from then on, we will include it in any validation that comes after. So this is what we have done so far, and in the next weeks, we will complete this the validation of the workloads in the backlog. Typically, we do 1 per month or 2 per month. We will complete this version upgrade and show it in the next meeting, and from then on, as I say, adopt it for subsequent validations. And we plan to start working in the definition of the security-related validation scripts. So once we have from working group 3 the security requirements from last year, we are starting to work in identifying how to validate. Identify first which ones of the requirements need the validation script and start working on them. And this is all, nothing more.
Okay, thank you, Luis.
Business as usual.
Any question or comment for Luis? If not, we can.
One thing, Guillaume, I understood before that you had another workload that can be validated. So please send me the details and we can add it to the backlog.
I was referring about FogSphere, which is already in the backlog.
Okay. Then that's okay.
Okay, so workgroup 3, Mihai, are you connected? Yes.
Yeah, sorry, I'm here. Yeah, so for working group 3, not much to update on. Mostly we have defined some goals for the working group for 2025. Basically, we want to continue with the refinement of the 68 features which we have left derived from the UCS to refine them and to prioritize them so we can start to feed them to working group 1. We also want to do a remap of the work of the UCS with another document called Sensenelec, which is one more updated draft of the UCS from the European Commission. And we want to create some metrics to start to track the percentage of the UCS to be implemented and to define the level of coverage. If we manage to finish this, and another thing important, what we would like to do to finalize the work on UCS is that we would like to have the workshop in Q1, and for this I'll investigate to secure some budget for this to happen. And some other goals would be to investigate also on the automation part of the security monitoring, which we think it's quite important, and also to check if there can be something from NIS2 which can be transposed from UCS to extend our coverage. That's all.
Okay, thank you, Mihai. Any question or comment for work group 3? Not. We can move to work group 4. Unfortunately, I received an email from Wamin that he's having some problem in connecting. So I can just see what we have here in the minutes regarding the preparation of the green scheduler that I announced at the beginning, the green scheduler demo on the next TSC. And they are working also on the efficiency using on optimizing the efficiency using the GPU and accelerators. But I think this is a starting activity. I don't know if is anyone else in the meeting that can give any other update regarding workgroup 4. If not, then I think we can move to workgroup 5 on communication and adoption.
Hello.
Oh, hi, Andres.
Yes. Sorry, I was overlapping with other meetings. This is updated, but I can talk on top of it after the meeting. This you can refresh. But basically, the hot topic right now is to close the date in terms of the Sylva Dev Days. We want to close this date on QCOM this week. We also preparing the demos for the events that we are going to have. So we want to showcase, as we did last year in many of the events, in Mobile Congress, QCOM, and so on. And you will see also in the minutes of meetings here the link to fill out the form to sign up to speak in the different events. I'm going to put here the link that Naomi shared also here in this in this part on the next one. We have here a question: is that we want to have a Sylva YouTube channel to release the videos. We are beginning to have some videos. This is a question, an open question to everyone, if it makes sense. If so, we can create it together with the Linux Foundation and begin to get some videos. We already have some videos, if you remember, with the demos and with interviews, so we can get a place where also we can upload more and have a social. I think we can consider YouTube a social media, maybe more or less. But we can have on social media, YouTube, the videos, and put, of course, all the other content that we want. This is an open question to everyone. So if
yeah, and Naomi has just joined us. So Naomi, the question was, do we want to have a Sylva YouTube channel to release the videos? Currently, I'm using my personal account. No issue on my side, but perhaps it will be more efficient to have it through an official channel. And the question was also raised by Matthew, just to give the context, Andre, of this topic.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I've actually been wanting a YouTube channel, so I'll definitely create that. The only thing that kind of made me pause last year was our marketing here at the LF suggests, when you create these things, you want to actually be able to populate it with videos and not just let it be stagnant. But absolutely, the way we're growing, how many webinars and things we're having, I absolutely think this is a great idea. And I will get this done today, or not today, but this week.
Okay.
And for
I don't know
example,
if you want to do vlogs of the events that we go, but could be something that could also to be done.
I think we could discuss that. A lot of times what other projects do on their YouTube channels are just more so tutorials, or when they're, having presentations at some of these industry events, they either record that or, reshare it to the YouTube channel. Say, for example, open source summits, all those are recorded, so we can easily kind of repost that back onto our channel. Our onboarding calls can be uploaded there. I lead community meetups for a couple other projects. We post those on YouTube channels. So I wouldn't necessarily say a vlog, because a vlog to me is very almost informal. But again, you never know. Like if this project is leaning more towards that way, we can definitely try it. But I would lean more towards just tutorials, meetups. Some groups do their working group meetings on YouTube. However, I will caution that, just because a lot of people aren't as comfortable participating if they know it's going to be spread that far and wide. I have some companies who will not participate if their working group meetings are put on YouTube. So just being mindful of that. But there are a lot of different things we can do. But absolutely, I will get that created.
So having a YouTube channel, also we can continue. For example, if the community prefer that the TSC meeting are released, but not it's like private videos. So it's the URL is not indexed. We can continue to have this feature even if we have a Sylva YouTube channel. So we can have some very public content, for example, events and so on, or starting guide, and we can have more private one with no index of the video.
It will work.
Okay.
It will work.
Yes, I think that the purpose is dual. On one side, to publish events, public events that we want to be available for a spread public. On the other hand, to a simple way to share the discussions like the one that we are having here, all the recording of the TSC meeting or the work group meeting that are doing recording, that, as Guillaume said, maybe should not be published too much, but should be available, or maybe with the link on the minutes in the Git of the different minutes. So it is a way to keep the recording of the meetings. Okay.
I've put an additional item for the adoption work group, which is an update. Sorry, it's a live update, so might need a refresh to show up. In the cloud IPCI, there is currently a pilot being set up, and so several companies, several participants to the IPCI, which is a European funding mechanism, will provide resources. And it happens that several edge nodes will be provided by some companies, and they will deploy Sylva on top of this edge node. So it's not only Orange, there are other companies. And so it's good visibility for the project in terms of adoption. And it's also what's going to happen is that some companies provide nodes with Sylva on top of it, some other containerization layers. And then we will propose to the companies within the IPCI to deploy their workload on top of this node. So we'll see where it gets. First, the first step of the pilot should be somewhere in March. But I think it's good visibility for Sylva, and politically speaking, it shows up Sylva also at the European level.
Yes, thank you, Nicolas, to remind this.
One thing, yes, regarding the feedback of Cubicon Sylva CFP, the one that I proposed was not accepted, Guillaume. So I think we only have yours, no? One CFP to present in the Cubicon.
Okay, and yes, and we've got one accepted with Oracle and Orange towards GitOps to manage cluster management and network functions.
Great. Okay, very good.
Good.
There were so many CFP, so Luis.
Yeah, no, I know, no problem. That's somewhere I have to prepare something, so I can save that.
Okay, any other comment for Workgroup 5? If not, we can quickly move to the last workgroup. Workgroup 6, I don't see any update.
Yeah, so I updated, but somebody erased my change. So if you look at the history, it was back on 30 minutes ago. But okay, I will re-put it again. But if you look at the history, you can see my last change. But anyway, I can give the status. It's my fault. I should have completed earlier. So
I'm sorry, maybe.
No problem.
Okay.
I was changing. Maybe it was me. I didn't saw that you were changing.
No problem. So the update for the working group 6. So we delayed the. Usually we have a meeting once a month, but this year it was planned beginning of January, very early. So we moved it to the 16th of January. So we had this first meeting 2 weeks ago. We published the meeting, the minutes. So we spoke about, there was an interesting introduction of Nefio by an open air interface contributor. So he detailed a little bit what Nefio was doing, and he shared the vision about Nefio. And the second presentation was interesting feedback from DT on the way they manage the requirement for the clusters and the difficulties they have when they do CNF GitOps management to align the requirement of the CNF with the cluster that in the documentation things are missing most of the time at low level. So we were almost convinced that the approach to at least write some kind of guidelines, including for this kind of topics, would make sense. So the first guideline that has been initiated is more on OCI artifact management. So it's in a merge request currently in review. But we should do something also for the CNF prerequisite versus the infrastructure. So what we saw that all the vendor at all the telco have at the same issue. That's nothing. That's not surprising. But what was very interesting, and you will find the slide deck in the minute, is it was pretty well detailed on which area things were pretty consistent, and in which area we believe that really things are missing, and we all face the same issues. So that's for what has been done. And for the next meeting will take place on the 6th of February. We will discuss our first security topic. So it's not really secure, but regarding what people are doing in working group 3. But when we do workload LCM automations with GitOps, and if we want to apply the less privilege principle, which is requested by the security teams, one of the consequences is that we have to manage lots of tokens from various roles for various people and with various rights. And at one stage, we are facing a wall of token renewal. So of course, we can not do it manually. And we'll discuss that. And it will be interesting. Somebody from GitLab.com will also join on this discussion. On our side, we develop a tool to do this kind of thing. So we will be able to share, but it will be more an open discussion about how the team that are dealing with GitOps in real are dealing with all these tokens and the security associated with these tokens. So that's the first discussion. Another discussion, so somebody from control plane.net will come back and detail what is behind their Flux generic M chart. So that's they mention and they share with us in the Slack. We'll probably start reviewing the guideline, at least the first one. So the idea of the guidelines is to have an endorsement from most of the user, people, the companies that are doing GitOps, because one of the point from our discussion is very often when we ask somebody dealing with the GitOps way of managing the CNF, our traditional vendor, at least for the telco, says that we are the only one to ask for that. And what is interesting is they say individually to each of us. So the idea to create guidelines is at least we could have an endorsement with different telcos saying, okay, if we want to have management of the OCI artifact in a NIT way, for example, with a public registry protected, of course, with different airbag mechanisms, but we don't want to go on a website and then to download an archive file. We would like to have a real registry. So we can express that, and we can express that in the name of the different company that endorse the guideline for the working group 6. So next time when people will tell us that we are the only one, who can say, no, we are not the only one. So that's the point. And that's for the next agenda. So I encourage telco to join. It will be 3 p.m., 6th of February. And of course, if you have additional topics on things you would like to see to be discussed, and there are at least I would say 10 or 20, between 10 and 20 topics currently open that we try to address during this monthly meeting. Feel free to vote for one of the topic or to add any new ones you believe it would make sense to discuss. And that's for me, and I will push back my change.
Thank you, Morgan. Any question or comment for Workgroup 6? If not, then and if there are no other point to be discussed, I think we can close the meeting. Please make any update to the minutes to the workgroup leader that you want, so we can share the minutes in the following days. And I think we can close and thank you all, and see you in a couple of weeks for the next TSC. Thank you.
Thanks, Caro. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thanks, everyone.
Carlo. Bye.
Thank you.